everybody. Happy Friday. Happy almost Thanksgiving break. Welcome to the live stream. We are so happy to see you. Welcome. Today, our topic will be art integration during RI with Celia and George. But before we get to that, we just want to say happy Friday. I'm sure you're all really eager for your break, just counting down those last hours, maybe running out like this. And a big shout out to Dr. Purnell at the Family Resource Centers. She sent me this meme today. She always finds the best memes. And I think we can all definitely feel like that. Hopefully we can come back with our hair a little bit done up and maybe our jacket on and our tie a little tighter or tightened up and just take that week off. Don't cook too much. Don't get in any family arguments, or do, have fun. Be you, boo boo. So is this you on Thanksgiving, thinking about Thanksgiving, kayaking down the river of gravy, or is this you, like you're the one who ends up doing the dishes? So we just want to our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who has to do the dishes, even though this might be a smaller Thanksgiving. Cleaning off crusted gravy or burnt cheese, never a fun thing. I know we all want to be ecologically friendly, but maybe the bamboo disposable utensils are a good idea this year. So just take whatever you can off your plate. Get it? Thanksgiving, take it off your plate. Okay, I'm sure you're laughing. It's in my heart, you're laughing. Anyway, thank you, George, for the golf clap. Okay, so as we say all the time, for any of your help needs, email edtech@alisal.org. Office hours are Wednesday 1 to 3 and Thursdays 1 to 3 p.m. You can always find the Google Meet link at bit.ly/alisalhelp. The A and the H are capitalized. And now, without any further ado, art integration with our very own George and Celia. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much. So if anybody wants to hop onto the presentation, you have the link here. So it's bit.ly/remote art. The R in remote and the A in art is capitalized. And you can follow along with us. We'll make sure we upload to the website later in case you need it. But it is here in case you want to follow along. So I'm going to get us started with a quick announcement. Actually, perfect timing because Josh just mentioned our office hours, and we put a note in the weekly, but in case you missed it, this upcoming week after break, so the week of the 30th, we actually won't be having office hours. George and I just have a scheduling conflict, and so we won't be able to just space out those 2 hours on Wednesday and Thursday when we get back. But the following week will be back to normal. So it's just an FYI for you in case you did need anything. You're still welcome to email us to the department email. And if it's something urgent where you just need somebody to help you out, please feel free to email us still. We'll still be checking our email. We just, again, can't hold the actual live office hours. And if need be, we'd be happy to schedule a one-on-one with you. If again, something comes up, please feel free to reach out. We're still available. We just won't have a dedicated office hour time. So that being said, again, you missed it. The address to the presentation is bit.ly/remote art. The R in remote, A in art capitalized. That being said, you might all be wondering why. Why are we talking about art? And so I'm actually going to pass it off to George next to talk to us about why we're talking about art today.
All right. Can you hear me okay, Celia? I got to make sure that we're a little bit rusty here. Well, here we are. So we wanted to go ahead and let you know why art. First of all, I wanted to go ahead and talk about this picture. You see me holding that art? That is really my place on her. Celia is the person that put all this together. So I'm just her canvas and she's doing all this. So I just wanted to give credit to that. I'm so grateful, during these times that we're talking about being grateful, I'm so grateful to have her, always having my back. And of course, Josh here and Adi, our secretary, they're always here supportive. So I'm thankful for that. But with that being said, Why art? Well, it's very challenging times right now. I think that most of us would agree that I have done art, that doing art helps us, maybe focus, calm down. It's soothing. That's one piece on there. So we're hoping that this art integration will help with meeting some of the SEL needs of our students. But it goes beyond that. We actually, art is very, especially the tools we're going to go ahead and share with you today, are very, they promote critical thinking and problem solving and reaching solutions in different ways. So there is multiple reasons for that. And the final reason is you're going to see that throughout this presentation, we will be highlighting the art piece, but we also, part of this is that the students get to use some of the tools that we're already using, things like Google Draw, Seesaw, and so forth. So Sheets. So we want, not only are the students getting hopefully some of the SEL needs met, they're also practicing, the critical thinking and problem solving skills. And finally, hopefully they're also getting that practice, genuine practice with the tools that we're already using. So for today's agenda, we have 3 items for you. First one, it has to, they call Shapegrams. The second part that we're going to go ahead and talk about, we call it Pear Deck, but in reality, it could be, we're going to share with you a Pear Deck resource, but in addition to that, we have other tools like Nearpod and also Seesaw. So even though it says Pear Deck, there'll be other tools. And finally, the third item with art integration will be with Google Sheets. So let's go ahead and get started with Shapegrams. First of all, I hadn't heard of Shapegrams until very recently. And what it is it's pretty much just a series of Google drawings, and they build on each other. They start with very simple geometric shapes, and the whole point of is that they recreate they recreate art or some using those shapes. If you are familiar, if in your classroom you ever use tangrams, in math, it's very similar. It's kind of a similar concept a little bit, but and like I shared earlier, this is all done in Google Draw. So again, our students will be practicing art with the tool that really we're already kind of using here in our district, or should be using. All right. So the way that Shapegrams work is there's a challenge. Challenge could be something like what you see here. The students are tasked with drawing this shape, drawing this picture with geometrical shapes, and it gives them the opportunity, to practice, looking at things and being able to replicate it. There's a lot of spatial awareness that's necessary. When I look at this, I definitely think math and tessellations and reflections and so forth. So there's definitely a lot of content that could come into this, and it's not just it's not just about drawing. So there's a lot of pieces on there. So one of the things that you'll discover as we share these is that there's a lot of critical thinking that's required. When you take a look at this shape, you and I might be able to recreate this shape using different strategies or getting to that destination in different ways. And I think that can be very powerful, especially if we can get the students talking about it, discussing as to how they recreated the image. So let's start with the anatomy of a shapegram, and in a little bit we will give you a live demonstration of this. It's broken up into 3 main pieces. On the left-hand side, you will see an instructional video that actually talks about these tools and how to use some of these tools. And then below, there'll be some diagrams also relating to skills that the students will learn, whether it's rotation, reflections, those kinds of things with the shapes. So you will see that all on the left-hand side. In the middle of Google Draw is the actual canvas. This is where there'll be a picture that's the goal. The student's goal is to replicate this picture, and then they'll replicate it in this green area right here. This is their canvas for them to recreate this shape. And finally, probably one of my favorite things that as I've been kind of using these and practicing these, is there's usually an extension activity that's related to what they already did. And that to me was really cool, because it took it from art. The one that I took a look at took it to research. They had to research something, and then they had to write about it. So really, it went from art to research skills, and then to writing skills. So I thought that was that was a really powerful way, especially when you want to extend the learning for those for those students that need to be challenged. We want to make sure we don't. We also have. Not only do we need scaffold things for our students that need it, but we also need to challenge our students at the other end of learning, at the other spectrum. I guess that's other end of the spectrum in learning. So those are the basic things. Unless I missed something, Celia is going to go ahead and jump in and actually show you a live demonstration of what this looks like. So Celia, back to you.
Awesome. So we did want to give you the demonstration just because, again, there's some, if you haven't quite seen what it looks like, you might want to we're going to take a quick glance at it. And so remember that the presentation, like this image that George was showing you what the actual activity looks like, is linked. And so if you just click on the link from here, or if you don't have the presentation open, you can always just go to shapegrams.com. That's fine too. But if you click on the link, or if you just go straight to the website, you're going to get to their webpage that looks like this. And so here are some things to keep in mind about Shapegrams. All the information that you need is actually also in the presenter's notes in the presentation also, but just as an FYI, Shapegrams are, it is a paid service, so to speak. So if you get to the page for Shapegrams, like the website, you'll notice that the first Shapegrams say free because those are free to use. And so you already have 4 free activities that you can get started with. However, if you did want to keep using these throughout the year, if you want more of them, you'll notice that they have like an extensive library of all the ones that are pre-made. It is something that you would pay for. I believe it's $35 a year, and they get you regular new Shapegrams, and it gives you license to distribute to your students. And I know that you know, not everybody's in a position maybe to be able to do that. And so if you're not, again, you have 4 free activities that you can use. Great. But if you do end up making the purchase, again, it's just one of those things. I think I was telling George that if I were in the classroom, this would definitely be something that I would pay $30 for. It's a lot of work from, we'll show you right now what it actually looks like to get everything ready and all the different pieces that George was showing you in the lesson. And so if you do end up supporting them by purchasing a membership, just know that it gives you complete access, as you can see here. It gives you license to distribute to your students for the year. You get new grams over the course of the month. So just an FYI. But again, even if you decide not to and you just want to stick to some of these free ones, they are sequenced, meaning that the first Shapegram is the easiest, so to speak, and then it builds in increasing difficulty as you keep going. And so I'm going to start with this first one. And so if you want to get started with one of these and you just want to try a free one out, I would probably suggest this first one. Again, it's just in terms of sequence, I would definitely suggest it. Once you click on the Shapegram, you'll get to this page, and there are a couple of different options. I do want to call attention to this because you should be clicking on Make a Copy, No YouTube, because our students don't have YouTube access. If you end up just making a regular copy with YouTube, then the students won't be able to watch the instructional video. But if you make this copy that says no YouTube, it'll force a copy. So you'll get this page. You can just make a copy for yourself. And the Shapegram that is being populated right now, again, like George was showing you earlier, over on the left side off of the canvas, so you'll probably open up to the canvas, right? But if you scroll over to the left, you're going to get an instructional video that's not hosted on YouTube so that the students can watch it. Again, another FYI that I like these videos because, so this is Tony, he's the creator of these, but he starts off with a quick little hook, but after that, there really is instruction on how to do this. He shows them, hey, this is where you get the shape. You're going to find this shape. You're going to, for example, resize it. Here's how you resize a shape on Google Drawings. Here is how you change the fill color, right? So students may or may not know that. Here is how you layer on a second shape on top of that, and then you're going to have to fill that shape. And so it really does progress, and it like very directly teaches students how to do this. So if students, again, just don't have the background with like creating borders or creating shapes that layer on top of each other, they're going to need, oh, here's one of my favorites. I'm even going to pause it there because in case you haven't noticed, in both, and it's not just specific to Google Drawing, but there are these little red guideline lines that show up to show you where things are aligned. And so things like that, if you want to make something line up, then you're going to be looking for those lines to guide you. But again, if students didn't know that, then they would probably have a harder time figuring it out, or they would be able to do it a different way. As a comment that George made about like even thinking about this window, the video shows it one way. Students may very well come up with a different way, and that's, again, that's a good thing. That's part of why we love these so much. But
I totally figured that one differently. It's neat to see the way that he came up with the answer. I did it differently. It was pretty cool.
So yeah, I think that's the best thing about it. It's like, hey, you can follow along, especially in the beginning, right? The students are probably going to need to get more like instruction about how to do these things. Then the main part of where they're recreating is here in the middle, and then the extension is over on the right-hand side. And I think the last thing that I would say about this is, even though, again, this is very much instruction, right? It's look at, this is how you get a shape, this is how you fill a color, this is adding a border, this is layering on top and aligning. Even if you do decide not to purchase the actual yearly license, one of the emphasis of Shapegrams is eventually leading students to creating something themselves. So again, these very direct instruction lessons are directed, like they're recreating these images. But eventually you can even phase students out once they get to know the tools and how to manipulate all the shapes. Then if you follow Tony on Twitter, you can see a lot of the times he'll be tagged with, or even the Shapegrams, when teachers post something or original designs by students using what they've learned through all these lessons. So that being said, if you're using something like Google Classroom, right, you could just take this file, make a copy for each student, send that out through Google Classroom. Awesome. It's a Google tool. Everybody can access it. If you're doing something on like Seesaw, you could also send this through a link on Seesaw. And so it's one of the things that George was mentioning again, like these are really just ideas. It's not particularly specific to any platform, because you can adapt them and apply them to any of the platforms, really. So that being said, that's kind of the overview of Shapegrams and how to get them. Again, just make sure that you make a copy, YouTube, and then you'll be ready to go. That being said, I think we're going to switch over to the next idea, which again is kind of Pear Deck, but not really. But I'm gonna pass that off to George to talk about next.
All righty, thank you, Celia. So the second piece that I kind of told you about, even though we call it Pear Deck, it kind of evolved a little bit, as I was saying, and we're going to start with showing these resources, and then, but it's actually there's other pieces on here. So let's go ahead and start. So, but remember, as Celia was saying, she has made it so that all these icons are clickable. It's remember, just a little tip for you. When you hover over something and you see it change from a arrow to a little hand, it means you can click on it. And when you click on that, it actually will create a copy for you. So I'll give you an example here. When I click here, it will automatically, whoa, never mind. That's not what it did, Celia. It's in the wrong place. Sorry, I apologize. So it's in the other place. So I apologize. Pear Deck is what we're going to go ahead and use. I'll actually show you what that is. And one thing that we wanted to point out is, remember, this PD for today is not a Pear Deck, PD. It's just a resource for you. So if you need help with that, with Pear Deck, how to use Pear Deck, we have our office hours, so we're definitely gladly help you with that piece if you need to learn a little better. You need to learn how to use Pear Deck a little bit better. So what you will do is, Pear Deck is an add-on that can be used, and it's as simple as adding templates. And we actually, here's a little animated GIF or GIF. I'll leave that up to you guys to argue on that, how to say it. So this is how you would add, how you would add templates. Now, what we wanted to show you though is these are already pre-made for you, and these are clickable. The first set that we have on here is the templates for art by Pear Deck, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what this actually looks like. So as I was saying, once you click on it, you'll have to make you'll make a forced copy. So you will have this copy for yourself that you can use. Save it so you can use it in the future. And you want to save it as a template. But it's really, this whole slide deck was created by Pear Deck just around art, and you could teach some of these art elements on here. Sometimes it's just about opinion. Sometimes, maybe you want to focus on geography. So here, these are all, if you've never used Pear Deck, pretty much what it is it's a tool that works with Google Slides. And in fact, you can convert your Google Slides into a Pear Deck slide, which gives them interactive features. And what I mean by interactive features is in this section, you can see on here, all the students would be on this slide at the same time, and they would get to drag an icon, just like it says here. They would get to drag the icon as to which painting, when it says which painting with the right to live in, they can go ahead and pick. And perhaps, this would be a good time for discussion and have them justify the reasoning for that. But it does, it goes through, as I was saying, these are interactive slides. Here, it says, where do you find this famous painting here, the Mona Lisa? Students would drag the little icon here, that you see on Google Maps or any of the map software. They would drag it where they think this is located, and so forth. So it kind of continues with these types of activities, and they're very interactive. But you can go ahead and start talking about some of these art elements on there. What is abstract art? You can go ahead and talk about lines of symmetry. So all these pieces that we learned way back when, perhaps when we did our CSET, or work towards our CSET, and when we had to take that test on art and PE, you might remember some of this language on here. Where's the focal point or emphasis? So the students would get to go ahead, and again, all these slides, remember, they're already pre-made for you, and they're interactive, and you get to control how long you spend on each slide while the students kind of do the work in the back, do the work. But it's just a really cool tool that we wanted to share with you, that can help you, discuss those elements of art. Not my strong suit. That's why earlier I'm just holding the canvas for Celia. So, but I'm sure some of you are much better artists, and you can kind of think of other better ways to use this slide deck. But that's the first piece that we have on there. The second piece that we have on here is also in Pear Deck, but when you click on it, you get it also. Again, you will get your own copy of the slide deck here. You do have to be a little bit patient, because remember, when it's making a copy, it's kind of adding all these pieces to yourself. But what this is just a scribble tool. I mean, imagine, you give, and the whole point of this is that you give the students just, some kind of just doodle, and then the students use the drawing tools to finish the picture, to finish the drawing, and see what they could come up with. So just, here's, just a few tools that the students could use on. And these are ready for you already in a Google slide that you can go ahead and push out through Google Classroom, or as Sally was saying earlier, you get the link, and you can also go ahead and share this, through Seesaw. And speaking of Seesaw, Celia has gone ahead and actually done this. She's actually turned some of these activities into a Seesaw activity. So if you're just using Seesaw, I'm going to show you what she has created for you. And I believe, Celia, you shared this with the whole district, or with our district, right?
I did the whole district.
Yeah. So look for this slide deck on here. Look for this activity in your community. Sorry, not the community library, but in our school or district library. You should see these. The other piece, of course, is that it's on the slide deck. So if you click on it and then you like it, then you'll have it in your library. But let me show you what let me see here if I can go ahead and go to the template here. Oh, I'm gonna have to log in, huh? Do I need to save the activity? I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and save my activity here. I don't know what you're gonna see. You might see a mess in my library here, but here is my activity here. Now we wanted to go ahead and show you what this actually looks like here. So here's the template. It's actually 20 pages. I mean, it can start very simple, and they do, some of them are more complex than others, but literally, you know, for the first lesson, you can start with this circle, and the students could doodle or draw around it and see what they create. Let's see, then the shapes start getting, you know, they start changing, they start becoming more complex as you go through. So you really have 20 days worth of art lessons where the students, you know, where the students take just a line or a scribble, and then they create some art out of it. So as you can see, so they definitely start getting more complicated on here, but it would be really interesting and neat to see what students, you know, just so we can see what students create and how what one student's create is different than another one. So again, here they are, some examples for you. There's 20 of them for you already pre-made. Celia was kind enough to convert them all from a PDF to a Seesaw activity. So thank you, Celia. Let's go back here. So those are really some ideas for you and some resources that are already made and ready for you to use, you know, when we get back, or tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow because we'll be here, but ready for you to use when we get back. Sorry, I'm still here in school mode. But we're going to go ahead, and that's the second resource that we have for you with regards to integrating art into your teaching. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the third piece, which Celia will go ahead and talk about.
Thank you. And so just a reminder that we are on our last kind of tool slash, you know, just these are really just ideas. And so if there are any questions floating around, send them in. I see maybe one or two. If there are any more, send them in now, just so we have them once we're ready to wrap up, which should be pretty shortly now. So our last kind of big idea slash some examples that are ready for you to use is the idea of pixel art. And so these are just some kind of graphics to explain what pixel art is in case you're not familiar. And so it's really just using the idea of pixels, right? Those little squares that essentially make up an image to create some form of art. And again, because we're trying to integrate also a little bit of like reinforcement of like digital tools. This is just as a reminder, just why we put this little icon over here, that the ideas that we're giving you are going to be using Google Sheets. And so, because if you think about it, Google Sheets really is just a bunch of little boxes. So it not only gives students that creative opportunity and a chance for critical thinking, but it also reinforces some of these digital tools that we're working with. And so we have some examples. Again, these are linked and ready for you to use. So if you're like, you know what, I really like that one and I want to use it when we get back, they're ready and done for you to use. But I'm going to show you two of these just so you understand what kind of they are. And I'm going to start with this first one. There's this idea of a mystery picture pixel art. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find more. But this is one that I had found by Jenna Williams. Again, as soon as you click on the link, it's going to force you to make a copy, just so you don't have to do that yourself. It automatically does it for you. And so here's what the template looks like. Again, this is ready to go. So you just need to send this out to your students. Send it through Seesaw, send it through Google Classroom, any platform. Once students have this particular template is identifying vowel sounds. So this could be, right, with your youngest students can do this. And so essentially all they're going to do is they're going to be clicking into these cells and identifying the vowel in the words. And so if, for example, right, the A, as you can see there, I'm just typing A, which is what the students would do. Click enter. And the idea behind all of these really is using conditional formatting. And so again, if there are any people getting ready for their Google exam, I'll try to get some of these done. you hopefully should know about conditional formatting. And so, right, depending on what you type in the cells, essentially, in case you're not familiar with conditional formatting, it changes color. And so the idea here is the students would identify the vowel in all of these. And then if they do that correctly, then the conditional formatting changes the cells to a different color, and those colors create a form of art, essentially. So again, I'm going to go through all of this, obviously, just in terms of time, but that's the idea. So if, again, they're just going to keep going, identify all the vowels, and the conditional formatting will like take care of itself, and it'll create the image for them. So that's the first one you can use even with the littlest ones. I'm probably not going to show you this this bottom one by Christine Pinto, just because it's very similar. So you see how like it shows you the sorry, I'm laughing at George. I'm going to blame it on George. Sometimes people will, I mean, very similarly in that first one showed short vowel sounds or just vowel sounds. This one reinforces content in terms of math. And so students have math questions on here. Excuse me. What they're going to do is they're going to respond to these questions. If they do it correctly, right? If they know what 4 + 2 is 6, then they type in the answer, and then the conditional formatting will change the color of the cell. And if they do that correctly, then they're going to get this pattern to create the pixel art. So we're probably not going to open that one up, but again, it's a template made already. This last one by, is it Eric? Yeah, it was Eric. It's a little more complex, and so I would probably recommend this one specifically for mid to upper grades. But again, the template ready to go. You don't have to do anything. There are directions on here. I think the difference in this one, which is why I think of it as slightly more complex, is because it's not, again, the idea of like having something directed. It's students are going to use their creativity to make something themselves. And so there are tabs down here at the bottom if you open the template. The first tab is just a blank, hey, you draw something using these colors up here. And the key, meaning what they're going to use to make the colors, are the letters above those cells. So if I want this to be a pink, I need to type in the S. Once I do that, you'll see that it turns to pink. And so, and students using all their creativity will be recreating something. And they're making their own picture, right? And then once they have this picture, Eric also included some extension activities, again, which I think would be more applicable just in terms of content to upper grades. The next tab is actually a fraction tab. And so if, for example, they had drawn this as their drawing, again, this is an example, this is their drawing. After creating whatever it is they're going to create, students then have to find the fraction for each of the color. And so this grid is 64 squares. And so the fractions out of 64, because it's an 8x8 grid. And so in this example, let's see, I'm going to add in one more color. In my example, I would fill in that my picture is 1/64 red. How many did I use? 4/64, and also pink 4/64. There's also space for them to simplify that fraction if needed, if wanted. But again, I obviously wouldn't necessarily do this with like a first grade student. George, was there something?
Yeah, I was going to say, as a sixth grade teacher, I'm like, simplify it, simplify it. That's what I thought.
There's also the fourth tab over is 10 by 10 grid. Again, same idea, except that the fractions are going to be out of 10. There's a 12 by 12 grid. And there's even one where after creating their picture here in the middle, they have to come back over here to find the area of each of these colors, right? So this is a reinforcement of area after they've done their art. So again, these are just ideas. They're ready to go for you to try out. Depending on what grade level you're working with, I know that some of these may be more relevant than others, but we tried to make sure we included different across the grade level so that you have some ideas. Remember that the ideas aren't necessarily like platform specific. I know a lot of people are using Google Classroom. All of these are Google tools. And some folks are using Seesaw. You can send out links through Seesaw. We made that Seesaw activity for you. So it really is just a way for us to get you some ideas and ways to implement all this creativity in your classroom.
So Celia, I was kind of looking at the feedback form, and most of them have been just compliments, saying thank you and this is great, so that's good. But there is one question that I knew was going to come up. So can you show in Google Slides how to launch the and how to get going with the Pear Deck, slides?
We definitely can. We're going to make it quick again, just because it isn't necessarily about Pear Deck, because not everybody uses Pear Deck. But we can definitely really quickly show it. Again, if you're, I'm going to go back to maybe one of these templates. If you are using one of these templates, I'm going to use the Scribble Scrabble one. You're going to open it. It's going to force you to make a copy. The thing about Pear Deck as an add-on, which is the same for actually Nearpod if you're using it. I know some people use Nearpod instead. It's very similar, but it's an add-on, and so you really don't have to do anything to get going. It's fairly simple to use. George mentioned you're welcome to drop into office hours if you want a little bit more guidance. You can reach out to your ETLs. If there's enough interest at your site, maybe your ETL could have a tech club. So we can definitely get you some support, but just a quick little intro. You know that these are Pear Deck slides because we have the little bar down here. So see how it says Pear Deck interactive slide, do not remove it. But it is just a Google slide. And so in order to get this kind of launched on Pear Deck so that you get those interactive features, you're going to go up to the top and you're going to click on add-ons, because again, this is an add-on. You're going to find the add-on that says Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, and you're just going to click open it. So you don't necessarily, I know the question was about like the website for Pear Deck. There is a website, you can Google it, but the website really just gives you kind of information on what it is, and like you don't really need the website for a whole lot. You start the lesson from Google Slide. So you go to add-ons, start the add-on, and all that you really have to do is up here in the top right, there's this green button that says start lesson. That's it. You just have to click start lesson. It'll ask you, do you want it to be student paced or do you want to pace it? Depending on what you're doing, you could have different purpose. It'll probably ask you to log in and give permission. But once you do that, of course it would log me out, right? Once you do that, there's nothing really to do besides it auto creates a join code. So here it is. So this is the join code. You can either, when I used to use this in my classroom, students would be fluent enough in this that they knew what to do with this code. I didn't have to do anything. They would go to joinpd.com, they entered the code. I literally didn't have to do anything with my third graders. But if they're not used to it, there is also a link that you can send them. So if you're like, I don't want them typing in codes and like having trouble and The simpler way would just be to give the students a link. So you could copy the link and drop it straight into your Google Meet. That's it. And so from there, they have this now, and it's interactive. They'll have drawing tools, they'll have drag and drop tools that George mentioned. So like, that's it. You don't really need a website. It's an add-on to Google Slide. I hope that answered the question and clarified. But again, you're always welcome to drop by and say hi to your office hours, because we love the visitors. Is there anything else, George?
As I was saying, Celia, that's it. Either people are really busy or overwhelmed or getting ready for, to get their kids going for Thanksgiving, and they're busy. But we've gotten a lot of thank yous and good job, and we needed this. So thank you for those compliments, and hopefully, this will help you. This will help you meet some of those needs of your students, and also the fact that the resources are pre-made for you will hopefully help you, use them right when we come back. So with that, we're going to pass it back to Josh.
Okie doke, guys. So I will just be the last from the team to wish you happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you in a couple of weeks with something new and exciting and super useful on December 4th. And beyond that, it is a mystery.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. But I promise you, you'll like it. And that's I wouldn't say ironclad, but it's a pretty good guarantee. In any case, as we say all the time when we're done at the end of these, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and be good to our kids. And happy Thanksgiving. And bye, you guys. Bye.